Classroom assessment. According to Carol Tomlinson, assessment is today's means of modifying tomorrow's action, and it is an integral part of teaching learning process, and it is widely accepted that effectiveness of teaching learning process is directly influenced by assessment. And now we are going to see that why, how, what, and when we can assess. So, initially, first of all, we are going to understand why to assess. Teachers have their clear goal for instruction, and they assess to ensure that these goals have been or are being met. If objectives are the destination, instruction is the path to it. And then assessment is a tool to keep the effort on track and to ensure that the path is right. After the completion of journey, assessment is the indication that destination is ahead. Then, what to assess? Teachers cannot assess whatever they themselves like. In classroom assessment, teachers are supposed to assess a students' current abilities in a given skill or task. The teacher can assess a student's knowledge, skills, or behavior related to a particular field. Whatever teachers have taught them, whatever the content has been taught to them, teachers are supposed to assess that particular content, and on that basis they are going to assess. And who to assess? It may seem strange to ask whom a teacher should assess in the classroom, but the issue is of great concern. Teachers should treat students as real learners, not as course or unit coverers. They should also predict that some students are more active and some are less active, some are quick at learning and some are slow at it. Therefore, classroom assessment calls for a prior realistic appraisal of the individuals teachers are going to assess. And how to assess? Teachers employ different instruments, formal, informal, to assess their students. Brown and Hertz in 1998 reported that teachers use three sorts of assessment methods: selected response assessments, constructed response assessment, and personal response assessments. They can adjust the assessment types to what they are going to assess. It will depend upon their selected, their personal, their constructed response assessment. And when to assess? This is a strong agreement of educationists that assessment is interwoven into instruction. Teachers continue to assess the students' learning throughout the process of teaching. They particularly do formal assessments, then they are going to make instructional decisions at the formative and summative levels, even if those decisions are small. For example, they assess when there is a change in the content, when there is a shift in pedagogy, when the effect of the given material or curriculum on learning process is examined. On all these bases, teacher should assess. Whenever the teacher changes her pedagogy methodology of teaching, she has to assess the student. Either they are getting their methodology, they are getting the content according new method of teaching, or the content is according to their level or not. Teacher has to assess whether the material, the curriculum, the learning process all are aligned with their differences or not. Then, how much to assess? Then teacher is a touchstone to weigh the degree to which a teacher should assess students. But it doesn't mean that teachers can evaluate their students to the extent that they prefer. It is generally agreed that as the students differ in ability, learning styles, individual differences, interests, needs, etc., so assessment should be limited to every individual's needs, ability, and knowledge. Teachers' careful and wise judgment in this regard can prevent teachers from over-assessment or under-assessment. One example is that every children cannot be taught at each level at one level. Same is the case of assessment. We cannot assess every individual, every student on the same criteria, on the same test. All the students are different, all have different abilities, they are differently abled and disabled. So we have to, being a teacher, it is very important to keep an eye that we have to assess students according to their level of expertise, according to their level of learning style.